Welcome to the Monday, May 1st, 2023 meeting of the Dennis-Yarmouth Regional School Committee. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the student representative report, and our students aren't here. They must be studying or something.
Or running track
or doing theater or
Right.
one of the 100 things that they do. So if they come in, we'll go swing back to them. But if not, I'm sure that there's plenty of good things happening at the high school. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. I'd like to take a minute to introduce you to our new principal for Dennis-Yarmouth Regional High School, Kendra Bennett, and have her come up and sit at the table while I read a few things that about Kendra that were in her packet for her application. Kendra's been working for the district for 9 years, both as a teacher and an assistant principal. Currently, when she was in the assistant principal role, she was responsible for teacher evaluations, school-wide testing such as MCAS, NWEA, MAP growth, access, and advanced placement, responsible for school-wide schedules, curriculum, data management, handbook updating, technology, website updating, school calendar, graduation and send-off events, virtual high school management, NEAC accreditation management, and got a good start on that. Co-curricular management, fundraising management, and other administrative duties as they arise. One of the things that she said in her letter is, I believe any position in education is important to make connections with the students, have clear communication with home, have clear expectations to connect with the community. I believe that student success increases when the student, the school, and the guardians have a clear line of communication and are working toward common goals. When students feel like they have a support system behind them, they belong, that they belong to their community, they have the confidence to achieve, and I couldn't agree with that more. A couple of other things that folks said about her, and I like this one. She's a possibilities person, a creative problem solver, not afraid to try something different if it's in the best interest of the school community. She's a natural leader. Very creative, hardworking, and dedicated. She started in our district working with our alternative learning program. This person says that they've been impressed daily by her organizational skills excuse me, and ability to deliver information in a fair and timely manner. She understands the teacher's workload and is able to give constructive feedback on lesson planning, behavior management, and properly evaluate teacher performance. I have seen a great leader emerge, she said. She is direct, thoughtful, and creative in her plan to move the school forward. She's an advocate for all students and shows genuine empathy for the difficulties that many students face. It is without reservation that I believe Kendra is ready to lead the Dennis-Yarmouth Regional High School and support all of the new initiatives. Ms. Bennett is a champion for our students. Ms. Bennett is a tireless worker that is extremely organized and always willing to go the extra mile for a student or staff member. I have found the most effective school leaders are those who have mastered their craft in the classroom before moving on to administration. Ms. Bennett was an outstanding classroom English teacher and eventually an excellent English department chair. Ms. Bennett's attention to detail and organizational skills are incredible. So it's with that and this final statement. Ms. Bennett is dedicated and committed to improving the educational and personal lives of our students, staff, and community. I confidently and proudly recommend Ms. Bennett to become the next principal of Dennis-Yarmouth Regional High School. So I congratulate Kendra. I'm thrilled that she's in this position. She is also the very first female principal of Dennis-Yarmouth Regional High School. And as I have said in a recent, our building project won an award, and we're going to Boston to celebrate that soon. And, of course, they had to make a video. And so one of the things that I commended our builders on was the number of women that were working on our building project. And it's like I always say, girls can do anything. So Kendra, welcome to the administrative team in your new role, and I'll turn it over to the school committee if anybody would like to say anything or ask a question or anything like that.
Go ahead, Phil.
Welcome. And there isn't much more that I can say other than you obviously have an advocate on your behalf, but you had to do all the work to create that background. And I guess I can say no pressure, but a sense of humor and high expectations are two of the things that I always like to think are top notch. And it looks like you're coming in already with that, armed with that. So good to see you.
Anybody else? Good, Joe?
Congratulations. I think you're going to make an awesome contribution. I loved what you said about possibilities, especially when we have all those high-need students, and I know, and you work with the AP students, and you know that award we got, that was a big one for me, and I know it was a big one for a lot of people, because it is about the possibilities. It is about creating a culture that says anything is possible, that you can do it, and not just the girls, but any of the students with any kind of obstacles, and demographics doesn't equal destiny. So congratulations, good luck, and if anything you ever need from us or me, feel free to reach out.
Tomas?
And I know congratulated you right before this, but you know what I liked about when you spoke during the candidate search, you spoke about always wanted to be on Cape Cod, you know, and that's where I was. I vacationed here for 20-something years before I made it my home, and it's like once you get there, you don't want to leave, you know. And that was one of the questions that I know some of us had, and we're excited that you made it to the Cape to DY, and we're excited to have you in your new role, and we hope you're here for forever. You know, Carol was in her role for 18 years. We're looking forward to you breaking that record, and continuing on with the tradition that we have here at DY. So thank you and welcome.
Kendra, congratulations. I know we've talked before, and I think it's a great turn for DY. You know, DY was great and awesome this year, and it's going to continue on. And I'm especially excited for the students at the new middle school, because they'll be coming here and they'll experience that and experience your culture and the way that you do things, and it's going to be wonderful. So I'm so excited for you, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Kendra, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to really,
Is your mic on?
There we go. Thank you. You can hear me now? Yep. I just want to express my, appreciation for this opportunity. I think hearing a lot of those things back, it's nice. I do feel like I've enjoyed working here. I've fit very nicely in the DY community, and we've really grown towards that opportunity for all students. And as my role, as a teacher, department chair, and assistant principal, I feel like I've had a hand in all of those steps. So, having this role and being able to lead the building, I'm not so much intimidated by what's ahead, because I feel like I've kind of been there during this progress. And like I said, to speak to the culture of DY, culture of Cape Cod, I feel so fortunate to be able to raise my family here. So I have no plan on going anywhere, and I want my children to have the same experience of the kids here. So it's all something I'm very aligned with, and looking forward to the possibilities and opportunities that the staff brings, the admin brings, and how we can make that happen at the high school.
Okay, thank you. Have one other item that it's a late entry, but on your table you should have a little booklet that looks like this. One of the things that was a real, I guess, what's the right word I'm looking for? See, this is why I'm retiring. It was a real dream of Paul to have a Dennis-Yarmouth Athletic Hall of Fame. And on Saturday, a few of us were at the Eagles Nest, Dennis Highlands Golf Course, for the first ever induction ceremony. And you can read about the various people, all of the people who are still with us were there for this honor, and it was just a really great evening of listening to stories of things that have happened in the past, how people grew up here in the district, the various things they went on to do when they left high school. I just think it was so great. I would have never, ever had the opportunity to know all these things. Sally Quinlan, when you read about her, you'll see that she is a pro golfer. And all of these people were either here coaching or were athletes at DY. It was just a really fun night, and it was a great honor for the people who were honored too. So I look forward to seeing where this goes in the future, but I thought you'd enjoy seeing the booklet.
Thank you. Do we have Betsy's?
We do. We have Betsy Pontius tonight, and she's going to be here giving us a STEM curriculum update, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And she can let you know what we've been working on over the course of this year.
Good evening, everybody. I'm excited to share with you an update on the DY STEM programs. Tonight we'll take a look at our math, science, digital literacy, computer science programs K-12. At each grade band and each content, we strive to provide teachers with curriculum and implementation support which enable each student to succeed. How do we know that we have empowered each student to achieve excellence in mathematics? Listed here are the standards for mathematical practices set by the state. We know our students are on the road to success when we see them engaged in the following actions in our classrooms: making sense of problems and persevering in solving them, reasoning abstractly and quantitatively, constructing arguments and critiquing the reasoning of others, modeling with math, using appropriate tools strategically, attending to precision, looking for structure and making use of it, and looking for and expressing regularity and repeated reasoning. This year, in grades K-5, we piloted the Eureka Math Squared curriculum resources. The pilot took place in 15 classrooms among our 3 elementary and intermediate schools. Along the way, pilot teachers met to reflect on the instructional shifts and the revised student resources. I hope you can see that the satisfaction was high. The blue marks the response of teachers being highly satisfied, with 76.9 on the percent of the team reporting that, and red indicates satisfied, so 23.1% of those teachers reported being satisfied. We look forward to bringing the curriculum to all K-5 teachers in the next school year. Dennis-Yarmouth is one of 52 recipients for the High Quality Instructional Materials Implementation Grant. These grant funds will help us transition to the Eureka Math Squared materials, and this will include curriculum training, one-time startup expenses, and ongoing professional development. This year in grades 6 through 8, we implemented year 1 of the illustrative mathematics curriculum. Our goals this year included focus and support for lesson and unit pacing, support for the transition to a problem-based curriculum, and feedback and support as teachers transitioned to students working in collaborative groups. All our teachers received initial training on the digital platform and the resources. Ongoing support was provided during the year by director check-ins, observations, and feedback. professional learning communities met to plan and reflect, and we also had math coaching. The transition to these resources was funded by a grant that we were awarded last year. It was a high-quality resources grant from DESI, and that helped us with the acquisition of startup materials and curriculum training. So as you can see that circle, feedback showed some teacher satisfaction with the curriculum. The blue shows that 72.7% were satisfied. The red indicates that 18.2% were neutral, and the yellow indicates that 9.1% were dissatisfied. That comes down to about one teacher, just so you know, in terms of the circle. But it's important to note that any curriculum implementation plan will span 3 to 5 years. And I look forward to continuing to work with the building leaders and the educators as we deepen our knowledge and usage of these curriculum resources. Currently at the high school level, I am working with the math department to vet high-quality curricular resources to support our integrated math model. After review, teachers expressed interest in exploring Carnegie Math. Carnegie is a high-quality resource that is approved by DESI. Later on in May, Carnegie will be providing us with free resources and also free training for a guided period of exploration for our teachers so that they can try it out with a little bit of support. And then once that's complete, if the team does, if there's consensus to move this forward, there are grants available to support upfront costs. I'm going to move on to science. So Massachusetts sets standards for student practices in science. We know our students are on the road to success when we see them engage in the following actions in our science classrooms: asking questions and defining problems, developing and using models, planning and carrying out investigations, analyzing and interpreting data, using mathematics and computational thinking, constructing explanations and designing solutions, engaging in argument from evidence, obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information. The Science MCAS test is undergoing a significant change. This new test in pilot form now is slated for a rollout in 2026 for grades 5, 8, and 10. Simulation and modeling take center stage in these innovative test items. So I want to just kind of point out that this would be on a test item, but actually the students would be creating a simulation so they can click and drag different barriers, and then they would click and water pours down, and then it will tell you like how successful your choice of barriers were for this particular problem. So it really is it has the potential to be very engaging for our students to take, and it also has the potential to sort of measure those standards where they're building models and testing out ideas. Our core science curriculum is a vast repository of resources that support teachers in creating hands-on learning environments that allow for creative and critical thinking. STEM Scope's resources provide interactives, so opportunities to use simulations to promote engagement. It also provides language acquisition strategies, so tools and tips for teachers to promote language learning during your content lessons. And it also provides some nature of science instructional resources and assessments that help students gain experience with the scientific practices. This curriculum we have in grades K through 8, and this was our 3rd year with this curriculum. Oops, I'm pressing the wrong button. There we go. To support the use of our curricular resources, DY paired with Cambridge College this spring to offer a graduate level course for elementary and middle school teachers. We had 31 teachers sign up and complete the course. In addition, we have a K-5 math coach who has been working one-to-one with teachers, planning, modeling, and co-teaching. The result is that our students are engaging in a variety of science and engineering lessons. Recently, in a 1st grade classroom, students created an object to help people based on their study of animal characteristics. So that, oops, now where am I? Going the wrong way? No? Yep, going back. There we go. This student copied owl eyes. She was studying owl eyes, and she explained, I'm making glasses so that when you look and it's night, it looks like morning. It really does take a village. These photos showcase a 4th grade lesson on deposition. Our community partners, Friends of Bass River, built stream tables for DYIS. Students were then able to see firsthand the effects of weathering. They worked in teams to explore ways to reduce erosion. Grade 7 is also benefiting from our partnership, as they will be taking a field trip to Bass River next week and see firsthand the way innovation can work to save our natural resources. These are just a few of the experiences DY students are having as they explore Earth and space, life, and physical sciences in classrooms and beyond. I am truly grateful for our community partnerships. Students at the high school are offered a variety of pathways in science. In our general science and physical science pathways, students can choose from the biology or physics MCAS. In addition, we have accelerated options for students. Our AP and IP pathways are going strong. This spring, Dennis-Yarmouth High School was awarded by the College Board, was given an award by the College Board for a 30% increase in students taking AP classes. Innovation career pathways are designed to give students coursework and experience in a specific high-demand industry, such as information technology, engineering, healthcare, life sciences, and advanced manufacturing. This slide shows the ongoing recruitment efforts for our IP healthcare pathway. These photos happened during the recent step-up day for our incoming 8th grade students. Students in this pathway will get hands-on experiences that can lead them directly into the workforce if they should choose. I'm going to move on to digital literacy, computer science. So our access to these standards continues to thrive at DY schools. Our vision statement continues to drive our work. When we provide equitable access to computer science education for all and across all disciplines, students will be informed digital global citizens who can persist in the face of creative and/or complex challenges, evolve with the ever-changing technological world, and will be ethical, active, and informed contributors to our increasingly technological society. At this point, all students at DY receive instruction in digital literacy and computer science. Many hours of planning, along with commitment from our building leaders, have allowed us to develop a K-12 pathway for computer science and digital literacy. Each year, we work with our district stakeholder team to dig deeper and make it stronger. 2 grants have funded our planning, professional development, and resources. We are very grateful to PACE, which is the programming for the acceleration of computing and equity, and that's through the Educational Development Center. And we are also grateful for the Digital Literacy Now grant, which is a Mass DESE grant. And they have provided lots of financial support for our endeavors. Each year, our stakeholder team holds 5 meetings in order to brainstorm, prioritize, and plan. This year, our priorities included increased attention to makerspaces and creating community partnerships. All around the district, makerspaces are growing, including in our elementary schools, and showcased here in our new DYIMS building. Here you can see sewing machines, Lego kits, and other creative building materials. This year, our K-5 library media teachers have added a computer science unit into their curriculum. We continue to find authentic ways to integrate digital literacy and computer science into classrooms in our district. Students as young as kindergarten now have access to Chromebooks, in addition to iPads. This way, students gain access to a wider variety of applications that support coding. These photos show students learning coding in different formats. The students plan the code before programming the Bebot robots. I don't know if you can see the Bebot robot. It's like on the edge there. But they use these cards, which are arrows, to plan it out, and then they program it onto the little Bebot, and the Bebot moves according to their plan. And if it doesn't, they can figure out what their mistake is and try again. In the second photo, you can see that the student is now doing block coding, so you can click and drag blocks to code right on the Chromebook. These early experiences help prepare our students for opportunities at the middle and high school. Students in grades 6, 7, and 8 all receive a dedicated class on digital literacy and computer science. This year, we were excited to welcome Ms. Betty to grade 8 at the high school. This completes the 6 to 8 course, Computer Science Discoveries. You can see final projects on this slide. In 6th grade, they do a creation of a website. And in 7th grade, they build a game. And then students in 8th grade will explore how physical devices can be used to react to the world around them, using a maker mindset to create prototypes with everyday materials. At this point, our high school program is an elective one. Students can choose to study robotics, design, or head into AP computer science courses. Our team's goal is to increase student numbers and diversity in these classes. Massachusetts now allows for a computer science course to be exchanged for a core math credit. Our students are already benefiting from this incentive. The state is now beginning to consider computer science as a core requirement for graduation. We will continue to bolster our program and look forward to exploring more opportunities for integration next year. DY will be well poised to meet this state requirement if and when it is enacted. I want to thank you for the opportunity to highlight the ongoing focus of STEM at DY, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you, Betsy. Anybody have any questions? Phil?
I'm really glad to see that it's no longer a case of presenting a novel idea or a novel piece of equipment as happened years ago, and it would be, eye-opening and, oh, gee whiz, wow. But rather, this is a continuation of previous inroads into curriculum and teaching methods and professional development, so that this is an ongoing practice, which is actually more hard-working because he's not just a one-time laying it out. So I appreciate the hint of a lot of depth both for the requirements for teaching and the requirements on part of the students. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Tomas, go ahead.
You know, I'm excited to see the things that we're doing. I know, you know, there's going to be a lot of questions about MCAS, and people are going to talk about COVID and all the things that are happening. And it's great to know that regardless of anything, we're working on making things better. You know, I know we talked about the scores of math and stuff like that. And, you know, I've seen Eureka. I see it every day it comes home for homework. But just knowing that regardless of anything, we're doing everything we can for our students, and we're looking for the next best thing that is going to help our students develop and learn the new stuff, and talking about the robotics and the coding, and to think about kindergartners doing coding, probably do a better job than I could ever do. But it's great to know that as a district, we're always trying to stay ahead in technology and whatever's new. And, you know, when we had talked about the field trip, and they talked about how, you know, in the 2000 when they started talking about the technology and robotics and hearing these things, it's great that we continue to move forward. And, you know, you tried it. You tried Eureka and saw where it was. You saw the feedback from the teachers, and, you know, going to roll it into next year. It's great that we have dedicated people like you and your team that are looking at these things and trying to find what's best for our students in our district, trying it out, seeing it successful, and then being able to implement. So we appreciate all that you do. And, you know, as Joe likes to say, we're always here for the support when you guys need it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Jenny? Good. Joe?
Thank you, Betsy, so much for your presentation. I just had a question on the survey of the Eureka. You said that at one point it was represented one teacher. It was such a small number. But that means that the overall responses weren't that many. Is there a reason why that response was small, or is that just the limited amount of, like I saw there was 11 responses on one. Are there teachers that didn't respond? And did we get good feedback from the ones that we did?
So the Eureka survey was based on the 15 teachers who piloted, and that was unanimous. They were all satisfied. The discrepancy came up in grades 6 to 8, which is a smaller number of teachers because we have dedicated classrooms, math classrooms. They're not generalists, so it's a smaller number. But it also did include the survey I did. A survey with them, sort of we met 5 times during the year, or several times, it probably wasn't 5, but just to kind of check in and see how things were going. And so we had students with, teachers that teach students with disabilities. And frankly, this curriculum is difficult to transition to. And even though the teachers, there was consensus in the adoption of it, rolling it out is tricky, and we're still working on it. And we're split between 2 buildings, right? So our 8th grade is here, and our 6th and 7th is there, yet it's one curriculum. So we're doing our best to have vertical meetings and to, let teachers really reflect and share with each other. So that was probably one teacher out of that group that was feeling dissatisfied. And frankly, there's some challenges associated with especially right now, the curriculum works by having students work in collaborative groups together. And that's just a little bit more than just putting a problem down to a group of kids and saying, solve that together. I mean, that's the start of it. But then to really teach them how to critique each other's reasoning and try something and then maybe take that off the table. I mean, it really is that social, emotional skill building that can happen right during math class, but is right now it's challenging to teach. So we're holding strong. We're going to support the teachers in, getting deeper into the curriculum and making it work. I hope that answers your question.
But you're confident that you are going to get there. And like you're saying, it's a learning process on the learning process, so for the teachers and the students. So, but thank you very much for, I understand there's a challenge, but with every good challenge, there's a good outcome. So thank you.
Right, and if we want students to struggle and learn, then our teachers are going to struggle and learn too, right?
Great, thank you. Betsy, I just had one question and a comment. In that we're talking about the the math program, and teachers were satisfied. And what can you maybe elaborate on satisfied? Was it they were satisfied that it was effective, or they were satisfied because it was easy to use, or I don't know.
So that was basically a general question in a survey that had many questions that were sort of aligned to the depth of, mostly like our goals. So it would be like, are you making it through your lesson plan? Are you moving through the modules as, paced out so that we can get through everything? And it's difficult to move through the lesson plan in the beginning because you really have to use your discretion as a teacher. And when they get a new material, they want to do it right. So they want to do everything in that lesson, and you don't always make it through. So I think some of the dissatisfaction or the less than highly satisfied teachers were that it's a difficult to move through, and it's going to take time for them to feel confident in making those decisions.
Great, thank you. And then my last comment, we talk about hands-on learning and community partnerships, and one of the other hats that I wear is I'm on the board of directors for the Friends of Bass River, and it's an incredible gift to have the students be part of this, just because it is hands-on learning. Besides the tables and the learning that the students get, we have a group. Carl Dupree, who's a science teacher at the high school, works with students doing water samples for Bass River, and it's a very, very important piece of our project. The fact that we go out and take water samples in different parts of the river and analyze them and things like that, so they get hands-on learning on how to do this. We also work with the science department at Stonehill College, so they get to see how college students work with this. So it's not just a small piece of the pie, it's a very big piece of pie, and the fact that they can get out and enhance their learning outside the classroom is very important for them, and it's very important for the Friends of Bass River. So I thank you for that. So. Any other questions, comments? Carol?
That was a great segue to the thought about the fact that a lot of this is related to civics. And what did we see at the Yarmouth Town meeting? But the passage of the ability to sewer the town in a way that will help us take care of the environment that we love here. So all of these things that the students are learning are translating even further down into things about civics, taking care of the world that we live in, finding new adaptive ways to do things that will enhance the environment, and so on and so forth. The other thing I wanted to say, and Betsy, I'm not 100% sure which of these because Desi keeps changing their mind about things, but I think, sometimes when we come to these meetings and we're giving things like a math presentation, someone might say, well, why do you do it that way? We used to do it this way. It was great for me. I'm, aging out. But I know that a lot of the programs that we choose are on a DESI list. It's not just we just procure these ourselves or look at it and say, oh, isn't this great? It's been vetted at a very high level. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So DESI is committed to this idea of high quality curriculum, and basically it's curriculum that's based on evidence, right? So research and evidence that is about best practice and the foundation of how you learn a certain content area. So in mathematics and in science equally, it's not enough just to know the procedure, right? You really have to kind of dig in and understand and be able to critique and apply some of the strategies. So DESI is really putting a lot of what I'm considering their like ESSER money into developing, really stabilizing districts in Massachusetts with high quality curriculum. And so we've been lucky. We've gotten 3 grants so far that are dedicated to this idea of it's kind of like what Phil was just saying. It's not enough just to get the curriculum and say, here you go, teachers, have a good time. This is good stuff. But dedicated implementation plans that recognize that year 1 goals are going to be very different than year 5 goals. And so These curriculum are now being placed on a list, but they've been vetted by an outside source. So they use Ed Reports, which has criteria, very clearly defined criteria. And Massachusetts also has the Curate website, which again is another a place where you can get some information on if you are reviewing curriculum resources according to a standard criteria, right? So DESE is compiling a list so that it makes it easier for districts to select and choose for their for their needs. Did that answer your question?
It does. And DESE has kind of an interesting way of doing things sometimes where you'll remember when I did my report not too long ago, there was a core curriculum that DESE wanted everybody to go through in high school, 4 years of math, 4 years of English, and those sorts of things. Now, they don't really punish you for not doing it, but they report out that you are doing it. And so very similar to like digital literacy, they're starting to now report out about which school districts are doing what they think is best. And so it's important for us. Our kids respond to the curriculum through MCAS, that's DESE's measure of how we're managing these things. And so it's important for us to pay attention all the time and to try to stay a little bit of a step ahead of where DESE is falling with all of these things so that we can be sure that our students will perform at high levels. And it's, as you all know, sometimes when we're serving our population, it might take a little bit longer for some of our kids because they might not have had some of the foundational skills that were necessary before. So paying attention on purpose to what DESE is saying is the best way to go has been something that I think we've done a really good job with. And that's part of the reason why we're getting the money to help support that from DESE or the curriculum materials or the training or whatever. And in this day and age, I guess it's like if I were a carpenter and someone invented some kind of a new tool for me to use, I would have to go and have training on that tool before I could really implement it properly. I remember I had come from a long line of electricians. One time my brother visited, he stopped on his way back from Boston. It was when I lived in Western Mass. He had a book that was about this thick, and I said, "Oh my gosh, did you have to read that whole book over the time you were there?" He said, "No, they just taught us how to look things up." So this is what our kids are going to in their world, whether it's working hands-on with some things, it all involves the academics too. So it's very important that we're paying attention to what DESE wants us to do. And I think we've had a good team that's done that over the years. And I think we're seeing some of the fruits of those labors, but we can't rest. It's sort of like, oh, we've only been doing this 2 years. Well, this is the next thing that we're being expected to do, and we have to keep evolving. I think in the old days of education, we got trained and then we went to the classroom and we were kind of left to our own devices before the onset of some of these other things. Not saying we weren't doing good work. I'll speak for myself. I think I was a product of that environment. I think I did pretty well in the end. But they're paying attention to what's going on in the world and in the world of work and wanting to make sure that our students are going to be successful. So I appreciate the work your team has been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. The next item is the school building committee report. Saturday, the 5th, or 6th. See, I did it again. I did it at town meeting. I did it at the 6th. That's Saturday. 10:30 at the new school. The public will have the opportunity to tour the school and see the great things in the great building that it is now belongs. It's the district and the communities. So I don't know, Carol, if you have anything, or if David, or if Mike or Tim have any information.
I would just say that the gathering spot is going to be in the new auditorium. It's not to be missed. We have some special presentations and so on, and so We have our students giving tours after that, and but the gathering spot is in the auditorium, 10:30 on Saturday, May 6th.
Great, excellent. The assistant superintendent, the school committee liaisons to the boards of selectmen. Anything from Dennis? Except for
Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's town meeting. Yay. That's my report.
Yarmouth had their town meeting last week, and the budget passed. So did the wastewater. So it was good. Anything? I don't think there's anything else they're discussing. I'm not sure. 15th. Yeah.
Election.
All right. Superintendent or assistant superintendent's report. Dave.
I was just going to mention quickly how there was the Yarmouth Town meeting last week, as you just mentioned. They passed our budget and a couple capital articles. Hopefully we'll have the same from Dennis tomorrow, and we'll finally be done with FY24. But then what I do have is the, we came to the end, in the end this year right now, of our 5-year contract with them, 5-star bus for school bus transportation. I'd gone out to bid earlier, a couple months ago. As I included in your packet, 5 companies requested the bid, but 5-star was the only one to return it. But everything was in order with their bid. We've had an overall positive relationship over the past 5 years with them, so I would recommend the motion to award the initial 3 years of this new contract with them. And it does allow, as long as we're satisfied, 3 years from now to continue with 2 one-year extensions if we so choose, which is exactly what happened these past 5 years. There was a 3-year contract and then 2 one-year extensions. And the price for the first year did go up, unfortunately, but as predicted, 9.5%.
I move that the school committee award a contract to 5-Star Transportation, Inc., DBA 5-Star Bus, to provide school bus transportation services from July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2026, as per our specifications, and 5-Star Bus's bid response of April 3, 2023.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any discussion on it?
Just one question, if
Go
I could,
ahead.
Joe. David, so you said that the increase was 9.5%. Roughly what gross is that, like, per year increase? What's the total figure, roughly?
The contract's about $2.5 million, roughly. So just round that up to 10%, $250,000.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, I don't think we need a roll call vote.
No.
I don't think so. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
That's all I had, thank you.
Great, thank you, Dave. The next item, the school committee business, superintendent search. We had, just before this meeting, we had a listening session with our committee, the superintendent search committee, and we had a great response. There were about 15 or 18 parents and some teachers here that all got up and kind of expressed what they felt would be important in a superintendent. So it was a great listening session. Applications for superintendent went out or opened on Friday, and they close on May the 15th. We'll be collecting those and going through them. We'll get candidates. We'll do initial interviews and get a more tighter number of candidates and bring them to the school committee for a decision. There is we're going to put out a survey it'll go through Remind for parents that just asks some questions about, what's important for them for a superintendent, and it has a little area for them to put in any information that they want. One of the good things that came up through our meetings, and I think it's actually a great thing, is we discussed, the survey, and somebody said, well, what happens to the people that don't know English or can't read English and things said. So Principal Deppen is working on getting the surveys out in 3 different languages. So it'll be available in 3 different languages. So I think that's a great thing that we can get that out to them. So I don't know if you have any questions. We're in the process of developing questions for candidates, and we'll be doing that soon. So I don't know if there's any questions or not, but that's that. The consent agenda, there is a donation for $200 for Stop and Shop gift cards. Tentative. 10? Move to accept. Oh, 10, 200, I'm sorry, I can't read. $200 Stop and Shop gift cards to the Ezra Baker Innovation School from the Andrea Holden Foundation, and a donation of $900 from the Masons of Cape Cod to support the music and arts for children in need attending the Margaret E. Small Elementary School, and also the minutes of April 3rd and the 24th.
Move the consent agenda.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any questions on the consent agenda?
No, just thank you to the Andrea Holden Foundation. That's a really generous donation to Ezra Baker, and also a really nice donation to Emmy Small for the arts from the Masons. So thank you both.
Great, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Okay, thank you. The calendars, or bills, requisitions, and payroll is going around. The calendars are in your packet. Public comment, I don't know if there's anybody from the public that would like to speak. We have 3 minutes if you'd like to, but I don't see anybody. Okay, we'll move on. I think that was it.
I moved we adjourn.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any discussion on adjourning? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, thank you very much.